Just give it a second, waiting for our young co-host to join me. Waiting on Jalen. Um, and we will get started shortly. Oh, maybe just getting a couple of last things set and ready.
And I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, as you come in, say hello. Let me know that you are there. Give a couple more minutes for Jalen to get in here, and then we will get started. Okay. All right, he's hopping in now. Good, good, good. So good to be back on this channel over here. We haven't done any content in a while, and I definitely have missed it. Missed all you guys out there. Um, the last couple of things said. Getting all my videos. I guess while I'm waiting on Jay, getting my last couple of videos queued up. Oh, shit, didn't mean to do that. And find my spot here.
Boy, hey, take your jacket off and cover it.
All right, I think that's good. Now let's see if there's Jalen there. Let's see. Oh, let me go on ahead and tweet this out. One more retweet and then I'll get started. Hello, everyone who's joining us. This is Talk of the Ages. I am your host, of course, Marcus Cage. Mr. Jalen Lawson will be joining us real quick. Let Sorry, I muted myself while telling you guys I'm gonna get my drink together. But on ahead, let's get it started. Hey, Gray Walker. Yeah, it's good to see you. Yeah, we are going to get into some of our thoughts on the Oscar stuff. I haven't got to talk to Jalen about this, and I know that this has been, a couple of weeks since everything has went on with the whole the slap. But for those who didn't get to hear my perspective, I guess I'll go ahead and reiterate a little bit of it. And then, with the recent developments and things that have happened since then, hey, Spade, how we doing? I guess the recent developments will go into those also. I don't know, my beard looking a little extra scraggly today. I don't know. It's all good. But yeah, I guess when I first saw it, instantly, it bothered me. It was a bad look, no matter which way you look at it. And some people, right off the bat, and like on the political matrix, how I looked at it is I said, okay, let's look at this in two different ways. One, oh, there he is. Right, green. All right, what's up? What's up? What's up? Yes, he put his own pooch on that one. That's what Greg Walker says. I agree. I didn't like it for two reasons. Even if this was staged, it was a bad look, no matter what. I feel like for the black community, as a black eye, no matter what, how we took it. Jay, I don't know. Did you hear my full perspective on it? Because I talked about it a little bit on the political matrix.
Yeah, I caught a bit of it, but to pick up on what you said it always looks bad as a black man.
Well, I felt that it was just a bad look on the community because I've heard some other perspectives, and I'll kind of go and elaborate on some of those different perspectives. But a lot of other groups, not everybody, but a lot of American population looks at something that one black male might do, and then across the whole entire community. It's unfair, but a lot of times we are often judged as a monolith. Gray Walker says, I thought it was staged at first. Now I think it was real. Which, how I look at it is, I look at it as at this point now, my opinion would be that it's a mixture. And what I mean by it's a mixture is, I don't know if they were expecting for it to be a slap, but it was pushed to get said reaction, if that makes sense. So like, it's kind of like, if I know that if I tell something about Jalen to somebody, I know that the person's going to get upset. But do I know if they're just going to cuss Jalen out? Do I know if they're going to try to put hands on him? I don't necessarily know, but I know that it's going to get a negative reaction. And so that's the reason why I say I think partially it's staged, as in they knew it would get under his skin and get him to react some kind of way, whether he stood up and yelled, said some stuff, whether like he actually went all the way up there on stage and
Marcus, can I add in something?
Kind of punked him. Yeah, but yeah, go on ahead, Jay.
So I also agree with you. I think it was forced in a way, well, not forced, but staged in a way that we were forced to see it. Even if you don't follow Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, you still saw it all over the place. Even if you don't follow Shade Room or things like that, you're bound to see it. Nobody even knew the Oscars was on.
Even if you don't watch the Oscars.
Exactly. So when he got banned for 10 years, I feel like they put it in our faces. So now it's conditioning us. Okay, so that's the reason why I canceled. You can't slap anybody at the Oscars. We have to set an example. In the manosphere, race is rarely mentioned. The discussion is about intersexual dynamics, more about what it means to be a man. Gray Walker.
They're normally not spoken out loud, but behind closed doors, the race aspect is always spoken about. Now, if they just came right out and said that, you know, it kind of goes to like a lot of the stuff that's kind of went on in pop culture and community as a whole for many years. They talk about these things all the time, but they know if they started off from the racial aspect, especially on the main spear, it would look bad. I think that he's made himself look bad, speaking Will Smith, you know, for a long time in many ways. That's what I would say, because either you're going to have an open relationship and it's cool what y'all got going on, or it's not cool. And you can tell by his reactions to a lot of this stuff. It has not been cool. It has not been something which he has been enjoying, and I feel like maybe he's accepted it, but I don't feel like it was his choice necessarily. Um, Gray Walker says, I've seen it sometimes in the comments, but it's about men slash women, now race within the manosphere. Yeah, I mean, the reason the racial aspect for me that bothers me the most is because, and I'm not advocating violence in this statement that I'm about to say, but I think that it says a whole lot that most black males knew that if it would have been a white man on that stage, there's no way in the world he would have got up there and did that. Just like most black men wouldn't have got up there and hit a white man. Am I wrong, Jay?
No, you're not wrong. We smack each other before we go smack them.
Mm-hmm. And that goes to something. Why is that in a community where we feel more comfortable with going up and slapping our own before we will ever put hands on somebody else? And I heard somebody say, "Oh, well, because it's like my brother, it's like my." No.
What? At
Yeah.
some point, you stop putting. Look, my father always said, "Yo, you and your brother do not fight." I swear, if we ever put hands on each other, he lost it. Yo, you don't fight your brother. That if I'm not here, that's all you got. So at some point, you and your brother stop throwing hands. Throwing hands, that's the problem.
Well, I know Gray Walker, and that's why it's important that like you get to hear like a perspective of mine to get to hear it from a different view because like you said, as a redhead, I cannot speak on the racial aspects, not race, because you don't view it from a racial lens, and that's good. But there are these issues within the black community in particular, which go all the way back to slavery, which go back to having an evil eye towards your brother, which go back towards because if you go into the Willie Lynch letters taught the black community how to be divided. I mean, it literally put man against woman, old versus young, light skin versus dark, slave in the house versus slave outside of the house. And, in the communities I grew up in, you step on the wrong black man's shoe, and that's enough that can get you killed.
Especially if it's a brand new pair.
Yeah, and the fact that we have that little patience for our own people and for each other, and would never do this to any other group of people, says something about what has happened within a community and a mentality, which i.e. leads up to why Will Smith would feel comfortable or not have that
Marcus.
Yeah, or I don't want to say comfortable, but would not have that sense to have restraint when it comes to another black man.
But Marcus is deeper than that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it. In the schoolyard, like, if you beat up as a black kid, if you beat up a white kid, it's like, and you go, and you know how everybody tells their fight stories. Oh, yeah, I remember I got into this fight. Oh, but you fought a white kid. You ain't fight well, for lack of a better term, you know what they say.
Mm-hmm.
It's like not proving your rank until you beat up someone that looked like you.
Yeah, and I mean that is a good point. But I look at it like this: once you get past a certain age and you're not necessarily having schoolyard fights anymore, you don't decide to do that with other adults. Hey, Allie, good to see Allie in here. Allie says it's so designed. Let me put it up on the screen.
Yeah, put it up.
It said it's so designed. I feel like the people running the show in Hollywood loved every moment of that spectacle. Exactly. That is my point I am alluding to there. They understand all these psychological dynamics that are going on. And they understand if we can poke and prod this situation here and provoke this to happen, it's a multifaceted, solution, because you're able to, for which, Paul brought up earlier, said, Pfizer was sponsoring it. Pfizer has a alopecia drug coming out. That benefits Pfizer there. It also benefits the Oscars to be able to have, more coverage, because think about it. Most of us haven't been watching the Oscars or cared anything that's been going on with the Oscars in some time. And so,
In my lifetime, I've never watched the Oscars ever.
well, I'll admit when I was younger, I used to watch the Oscars, but we're talking about a time when there wasn't like a gazillion things to watch on TV, and you didn't have all the streaming, and you didn't have all of these.
Exactly.
Yeah, social media. You didn't have all of these things going on, and now you have so many other things that you could be doing. Also, you have what's going on just in the society around us. Society is kind of falling apart in a sense, in many ways, and the bread and circuses a lot of times don't distract us anymore. Before, it would be, don't worry about that war that's going on in this country or that country. Just worry about the Knicks making the playoffs. Don't worry about this. We got the NBA coming on. It's that distraction. Go worry about the bread and circuses. But now it's getting to a point where so many issues are going on around us. It's hard for people to pay attention to the bread and circuses. Let me see. That's a good comment there.
And not only that, Marcus, on your social media pages, they're tailored to things you like. So if you're not paying attention to it, you're not gonna see it.
Mm-hmm. Said there's something called the amygdala hijack.
Amygdala? Is that amygdala?
Amygdala. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, amygdala hijack.
More people are talking about the slap than about Ukraine. Exactly. If you look at it, think about all the narratives that have changed very quickly. And I'll bring up a little bit of this because we talked about the drop the mandates. Hey, I see you. We see you also. So glad you're here.
What's going on? I see you.
Think about it. And I'm trying to be, I went through and edited this video to be quick and to kind of give a little gist of it. And I'll kind of explain some of the other things that went on there. Once we get into that. But actually, what we can do is we can hop into that, and then we can come back to this topic because there's more and more I want to get into as far as this. So I figure this first part we'll just kind of go into more our thoughts and feelings on it. I think both of us are in agreement. We both feel that this was intentional, faked to a degree, and real at the same time.
Like he did really slap him.
Well, part of me almost feels like he kind of pulled back, because the reason why I kind of was like, was it a real slap? Because, like I said on Political Matrix, like if you slap somebody normally, let me put my hand kind of more towards the middle. Your hand goes across. You see that?
Yeah. When
you slap somebody and your hand goes downwards, it normally
that's like a bad smack. You're really not smacking somebody.
Exactly. If I put my hand like that and went through, that's like following through. So the force on it, whether it was a hard slapping and going through, should have caused a harder jerk.
Yeah, his face was just like this.
Yeah. Or
like he almost braced for it.
Or a shove. You get what I'm saying? Or a more shove, which should have pushed him.
Oh, wait, Marcus, before transition, just to add in, then you have the other side of the thing that's going on now. They're talking about Jada Smith and their marriage. Now you're seeing all these weird things coming out. Did you see that she said her grandmother taught her about self-pleasure at 9 years old? Now we're bringing up themes of pedophilia.
Well, see,
wait. She said at her Red Table Talk, you can find it on YouTube. Well, I saw it on Twitter and Instagram, just scrolling.
You to even hear it. I don't even want to break. I do not want to hear.
Listen. She says that her grandmother taught her self-pleasure at 9 years old, so she could never say that feeling that you get, a man can't give you that. you will always need to feel like you can give it yourself. You don't ever want a man to have that one up on you at 9 years old. And then it's like that's in the media.
The biggest part of their problem is they should be sitting with a therapist or counselor to
A
deal with.
real one, like away from Holly weird.
If you want to have an open relationship, that is perfectly fine. That is between you and that person. If you want to have a completely private relationship and everything you do is private, that's fine. But the moment you start putting all your business out there, you need to be prepared for dealing with it. And like another thing I was just thinking about, like, and I'll show this clip a little bit later. That caught my attention. And it's kind of more of a fame, yeah, mean mother, or you said that was grandmother.
Yeah. She
Yeah,
said her grandmother taught herself pleasure at 9 years old.
and see that goes into, believe it or not, even though we're not even talking about actual sexuality. I mean, being careful with my words here, but
Please.
the so-called "Don't Say Gay" bill. It's really talking about not talking about
Wait, Marcus.
in general with young kids, and I feel like at, at certain ages they should at least let them be kids for a while instead of going into all of this stuff. If a parent on their own and their kid is having questions and thinking certain things, then let them do that within themselves. But teachers should not, in my opinion, should not be going into some of the stuff which are talked about, at least until a little bit later on, and at least till the age when kids actually start going through puberty. I mean, granted,
And
kids go through puberty at early ages. I did see it when I worked a volunteer work at the hospital where a kid was molested and went through puberty much earlier. But most kids aren't going through puberty until definitely after third grade. We'll say that.
but Marcus, to clarify, that goes for each whatever sexual orientation you choose. Like even in movies, you tell little kids to close their eyes if you see a kissing or sex scene because you don't need to be exposed at that time.
Mhm.
And kids are sponges and they're very curious. So
Yep.
then they're gonna ask questions. I have a 6-year-old nephew.
Mhm.
He heard me having a conversation in the other room. And he was like, "Were you upset?" So just imagine what they're gonna think when they see intercourse. What are they gonna? Then you have to answer a bunch of questions that don't need to be answered at 6, 5, 4, 3 years old.
And I completely agree. I mean, let kids have their innocence. I
And
mean,
I feel like they've robbed us. I feel like they robbed kids of their innocence, especially with promoting social media use with children. Like I can say I saw way too much than I probably should have, but there's nothing my parents could do at that point. I already had a phone.
Gray Walker says, I thought you didn't choose your sexual orientation. I put it this way.
No comment.
I no. I put it this way. If a kid starts feeling like, you know what, maybe, and they start getting into that whole sexual orientation talk, that should be between them and their parents. That's how I feel. I don't feel any outside person or the school should be involved in that at an early age.
And then
Older, that's a different story. But not. I feel like kids at a certain age just be able to be kids and not thinking about that. I mean, when I
and
was
the funny
we had plenty of girls who they used to call tomboys back in the day because they like dressing like boys. They like doing more things that were considered boy activities. Did that mean that they necessarily thought that they were a boy? No, some of them turned into some of the most feminine women I know, and vice versa. There were boys who weren't very outdoorsy and like to do those different things, and so I feel like it shouldn't be forced to pick a side. You're this, you're that, you're not a this, and let kids be kids. That's all I'm saying. Let's see.
Another thing. Ooh, I'll read this. Ali
Mhm.
says they are teaching kids some weird shit these days. I sound like I'm 80 years old, but Sebs and I talked about this a little bit the other night. Oh, Ali, I have to agree with you. We had a discussion about this actually in my English class my senior year when there was a report that they were coming out with the LGBTQ ABCs, and
Oh,
they
but
were
yeah, let's not. I know what you're talking about.
so they were wondering how come they're trying to change the ABCs to sexual orientation and tying it into just learning the basics of speaking English.
I'll definitely look into this, Great Walker. You said this is all over the manosphere, which yeah, I'll look into it definitely. Um, Ali says, "Oh yeah," and Chris was going off about that stuff the other night too, rightfully
Oh,
so.
was he?
Oh yes, yeah.
Was this on Rockman?
No, this was not on Rockman.
Oh, okay.
It was on the Political Matrix. It's probably on the right after we talked about the Brianna Joy Gray. So it's probably maybe the last maybe 30, 45 minutes. And he had been having a
Okay,
bunch
I
of
have to
conversations
check that out.
that had kind of gotten under his skin. And, um, I don't know. I mean, well, most people who know me know that I'm a guy who's very faith based, and there's certain things which are within my faith realm, and I choose to if I'm asked about what I believe, I will go into that on some of those things, but on touchier topics, I tend to not to say that because we don't live in the type of society anymore where people are fine with just hearing your opinions. Your opinions automatically, you know,
Equal an attack.
yeah, are under attack. Even though I'm a person who tells people I no longer participate in politics. So I'm not going to be the person who's going to be making a vote pro or against anything that you want to be doing. So what I believe in between my two ears, I don't see how that necessarily affects other people. But
But you know what else,
we
Marcus?
live in that society
Can I
anymore.
can I add in something?
Sure.
One big thing that I feel like ties in all of this is this is the era of self labels. Everybody wants to be tied into something or grouped into something. So it's these labels. And then you're offending someone if you say something that you didn't even know was a thing. Oh, you're going against this, whatever label you created to justify whatever it is that's making you upset to a person that didn't even know they were addressing you. So, and it just ties into so many different places. I'm not going to say specific things, but I think we all have an understanding.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, it's an attack. It can't be looked at as a justified conversation. And
Hmm.
it's like it's an agenda because it's everywhere. TV shows, movies, video games. It's at TikTok. The kids are all on it. There's kids in, you know,
Yeah, I heard a statistic that said that out of your generation Y, right?
we're Gen Z.
Gen Z. Okay, that's what it is. I get all that stuff mixed up. They said Gen Z, a third, I believe it's something around a third of Gen Z identifies as LGBTQ.
I
And
believe it.
so that's a difference which you're starting to see generationally. Whereas generation well, millennials
Yeah.
is probably somewhere around maybe 20% that I mean, the last numbers I've really heard. And then when you go above that, it's somewhere around 15%. I mean, most studies
Wait,
say that
aren't you, Marcus? Aren't you Gen X?
well, they reclassified me.
Oh, okay, because I thought like if you were born in 93, 94, 95, you were millennial. Like if you're 26,
No, I guess technically I'm a elder millennial. So they reclassified anybody who was born in 81 as a millennial. So anybody
mm,
born in 80 is considered Gen X.
It makes no sense.
And then they changed that again, like I think 3 years ago. So now even the people who were born in 80 now are considered millennials. So it's now the cutoff is now 79. So
Mhm,
79, you're Gen X. And so
mhm.
80 now is 80s now are millennials.
But Marcus, speaking on your statistics, I can see, well, I can guess the eye test is your evidence because even I can when can I
Yeah.
remember? Like even back in third or second grade, there was girls who, said that they liked girls in second or third grade. And then in middle school, everybody be on social media. People just started cutting their hair, posting different things, and it was just all over the place. And we were only like 12 or 11 years old.
Hmm. Yeah, ICU makes a good point here.
There's something interesting that people are missing in this bill. It gives parents full rights over their children until third grade instead of allowing schools to make decisions while they are there. Exactly. And it's not even called the Don't Say Gay bill. The bill was actually named to be named later.
Hmm. I.e., medical decisions, etc., which public schools would like to do. And that's what it is. Schools, whether it is conservative schools, whether they're liberal schools, what we're starting to see is like I remember, I guess, growing up, a big thing in our generation, those of us who are millennials, Ali, um, and especially elder millennials, our parents would project onto us, what, like, say for instance your father wanted to be, a baseball player, and
Mhm.
he blew out his shoulder. So what does he do? Start drilling his kid on baseball at an early age, start trying to push that in. And what I feel like we're seeing is we're seeing parents pushing a lot of their political ideology throughout their kids. Okay, you need to be more conservative at this age. Okay, you need to be far more liberal at this age. Um, at the protests, which I saw, I guess technically it's protest rally, of the defeat the mandates. I saw two kids on stage who spoke. I think one was 10 and the other one I think was 9. I mean, kids shouldn't, I don't feel, should be involved in politics that early. I'm sorry. And the only reason why kids are getting involved in politics that early is because the parents are putting that in to their kids. The
And then you
parents
see it on social media.
the parents are getting them involved in those things.
Marcus, I was 17 when I really started getting into my research, and my dad said, "Relax on the research because the rabbit hole is deep."
Yeah, the rabbit hole is deep.
And ever since I took that dive at 17, I'm 19 now. I feel like I'm a different person and I can't go back.
Oh, once you start learning certain things, you can't go back. And
Yeah.
and I know, just like, a lot of people out there in the crowd, they know once they started seeing and learning certain things and started reevaluating certain things, they can't see it the same way. It's just like the way I saw the military when I was 17, as
Mhm.
opposed to how I saw it by the time I was 25, was massively different.
Mhm.
Spade says, y'all need to check out the Breakfast Club interview with Malik Yoba and transgender women. It was wild. I will check that out. I mean, Malik Yoba used to be one of my favorites back in the day when he was doing, what was it, New York Undercover. And,
Mm.
uh, and
Oh,
he, cool Runnings, for those who don't remember that, says XY women. What was that? Great
uh,
Walk. XY women.
XY.
I read many testimonials from XX men.
I don't
See,
even know
yeah,
what that means.
yeah, it was one of those things where I used to just like, I stayed out of, so like when I hear some of these terms, I don't even know who they're talking about. They're like assist this, that, and I'm like, I don't know what assist, whatever you're even talking about. I don't even understand how that makes any sense. I'm like, I don't care about whatever new labels you people want to make up for. like I heard somebody like in this show I was listening to the other day on Power Book 2, where Tariq is in college. It kept saying
Oh,
BIPOC. I'm like, I don't know what the hell BIPOC is. And I don't really want to know what it is. It's just like
wait,
people who were
we're saying
saying
BIPOC? Wait,
uh,
where were you saying that in relation to power?
when he's in school, the one
Mm-hmm. Okay.
picking on BIPOC students.
What a
X
BIPOC
X and
means.
XT refers to chromosomes. I've heard of XX and XY. I hadn't really heard it. Oh, XY. Okay.
Oh, that's what she meant. Okay.
BIPOC is I, I I think that means multiracial. That's what I think. Um,
Oh,
and I'm like, because in this generation, everything offends everybody. Back in the day, kids were like, "Yeah, I'm mixed." Now, people will say, "Well, if you say mixed, that's an offensive term to say somebody's
yeah.
mixed."
Because I'm actually Puerto Rican, Dominican, Black, African American,
Oh
Latino.
my gosh! And then, like I'll tell people, um, especially like growing up in the Black community back in the late '80s, early '90s. Um, if you couldn't deal with people talking trash, you
It
were gonna
was so.
hard life. And I can tell that in these other cultures, apparently that does not happen. I can tell it can't happen for people to be this sensitive about so many things. Um, um, I always says Black Indigenous people of yep, that's what it is. Black Indigenous people of color.
Oh my lord! But you know what else, Marcus?
But
The biggest thing
that's
is.
a good point. That's a good point that she brings up because I've
Oh, okay, there we go.
I've heard a bunch of people say, no, it's African American. No, it's Black. And I'm like, no, I don't really give a damn. Neither one of the terms really matters that damn much.
But you know
It's,
what else, Marcus? When you're
uh,
what up, Anthony? But
oh,
you know what else, though,
I
Marcus?
get back and finish. I started watching the one with Anthony. I'm glad to see that you guys had Anthony on there. Anthony needs to be on. I need to see more content with Anthony in it.
No doubt, no doubt.
Hmm. Verbiage. That's the thing. Everything.
Him and I connect up. Shout out to you on Twitter. Hmm.
And that's my issue, which I see with this. That this is your people, Jay.
But
What's wrong? Now we talk.
okay, so you know what? Let me go on a little grind my gear session from my age group. You
Let's
know, I feel like we have my age group is the era of you want to do everything but never want to take accountability for anything you do. It's like, okay, I played with fire, I was warned, but then I'm mad because you let me play with fire. Like, you wanted to do it. You wanted to do it. Now you're mad at someone else. Like it's someone else's fault. Or because of this, you like the fake trauma. Everybody's been through something like, oh, if you ate ramen noodles, you were poor. Like everybody ate ramen noodles if your mother wasn't cooking. Let's
mm,
just call, even if she was cooking, if she was working, it wasn't that. Or people who you went to school with, uh, that played basketball, know with their moms a year later rolling around with guns on social media. And it's like, you're really, or these people that you've known for years act so different in front of a camera. Like, I have a friend that changed his name. He didn't want people calling him by his real name and just stuff like that. Oh, because it's my stage name. This generation grows up too fast, but they still kids.
I
That's
see.
really what it is.
We do. We all still get them.
Can I ask this?
Actually,
W-
I'm trying to remember.
Wouldn't you say every generation thought they were grown?
Oh, that's right. I think Gray Walker. Didn't you say that you were a boomer? I think Gray Walker said that. I think Gray Walker said that she's a boomer.
See,
So I
boomers,
don't.
boomers get a lot of hate, but I'll show love to Gray Walker.
No, Gray Walker's definitely down.
But
Gray Walker somehow managed to be okay. 1956. Okay, cool. So my mom was born. My mom is. I think she would be a boomer. Not for sure.
my mother's Gen X.
My mom was born in 61. So
Mine's 77.
yeah, I mean, Gray is normally my apologies, is normally, in a lot of the conversations, and I think it helps round out the conversations, especially for this show, Talk of the Ages, because it helps us reflect, with Jalen being Gen Z, me being I guess Gen X now, and then having a boomer, we're able to talk about different things and how different they were from the different time periods, and be able to analyze how things are changing, how fast they are in this current, schism that we're in.
But Marcus, you know what else? Everybody thinks my era is weird, but I mean every era is weird in their own right. But I think the only thing is
Not like you mofos.
because you know why? Because of these. It's only because of these.
No, actually, this is something which
The
hey,
parents.
Nisha's in the house.
What's up, Nisha?
This is something which I've noticed as far as societies. And if you take any kind of dominant society, what normally happens to the people, and doesn't matter if you're the ultra wealthy or the poorer people in that society. If that nation is like one of the hegemonies, what happens to the people is they become softer and softer and softer versions of the generation before them. So the wealthy become the most pampered, soft, intolerable wealthy, and even the middle class and impoverished, they become weaker versions of themselves. And when that happens, the societies start to crumble, in which we do see more of that crumble, especially in this this nation itself. Anthony says, this generation is a product of what came before it. Exactly. Um, each, like, I look at it like this, the men in my mom's generation, I don't feel like I hold a candle to them. I mean, even though I consider myself more of a masculine type of guy, I still feel like a kid to them. And I feel like if they look back to their parents' generation, they looked at them as a kid to them, softer and, I don't know. I'm getting a little.
Think about it, Marcus. It technically gets easier every generation.
Yeah, I
Think
mean,
about
I think technology does have a part to play in softening us and all up. Um, we get things are just easier, and we don't have the patience that we had before, and that loss of patience makes us more.
You know what else, Marcus? I noticed this separates me from a lot of people in my generation is resourcefulness.
Mhm.
Like they give up so easily.
Loss of patience.
Yeah, and nobody wants to challenge their brain. And you know what's funny? I talk to people. I'm a music lover. Like I live and die for my music. So with music, people when people drop albums that are 24 songs, people go, "Oh, that's too long." Oh, you're watching a YouTube video that's 30 minutes, and I'm like, "Wow, your attention span is terrible."
Hmm.
But when I look back, they all didn't read. My grandmother used to read books with me from the time I can remember. Like she used to read Daniel Steele books when I was 4, and I used to read them with her. How do you
Hmm.
define love? No sus.
No, I look at it like this. for instance, if you were behind on your rent, you had this going on, you had your job, you had your boss who was an asshole and getting in your head. A lot of those men
Mhm.
in that generation, they said they knew what they stood on, they knew what they were willing to take, and they knew what they weren't willing to take.
Mhm.
They knew how, hey, if I gotta go out there and work a double, a triple, whatever, I'm gonna go get it done. If I gotta go to the streets to get it done, I'm gonna get it done. Whereas our generation, I don't feel have that. Not everybody has that extra oomph in them to do it. Um, there's always gonna be exceptions to the rule. There's always gonna be people who still, you know, go hard. But as a whole across the generation, that's where I feel that the weakness starts to come in. That's that
Mhm.
that's what I was trying to say.
And people are afraid of change. You know, being in the truth, I noticed that when you break it down to people, they really don't have an argument to stand on. And it's not even about me wanting to be right, but you don't have anything to stand on. So, what I always say is if you really want, they say they want change, but I'm saying if you want change, you have to give up some of these things that you've grown accustomed and grown comfortability with. And they're not willing to do that. But then you want to tweet about how bad it is, but then you don't want to make the change that you claim you want.
Mhm.
And because you're so comfortable with but all it is a distraction. I feel like this is the era of distractions.
Yeah. And you are definitely welcome to come in and ask us anything. That's part of, that's part of what we like to do on this show. It's just an open, free flowing conversation. Let us, try to think about, things, and we don't like to get into politics as much on this one. Just kind of just think more pop culture and how we deal with each other, and all those different aspects. And then we try to look into, we'll take some kind of pop cultural thing and try to dig into it. Um, Anthony says when you that's why I love sports, when you down and out, and it really comes out. Sometimes sometimes it can be a bad thing trying to go too hard. Perfect example. When I was in high school, one of the years I got cut from the basketball team. Pissed off one of the coaches, ended up getting cut. So I said I
Mhm.
need to stay in shape for football. So I was like, I'm just gonna work out with the wrestling team. And so I started off working out with him, but the coach was like really impressed with just some of my athleticism. So he's like, "You sure we can't get you to at least just wrestle a little JV?" And so I was like, okay. He talked me into it. So I did it. And I turned out being really, really pretty good at it. And he's like, well, can't we just get you to do a little bit of varsity? And so I did that. And then what happened is I ended up tearing my ACL. In that
Mm.
very match which I tore my ACL, um, I continued to try to wrestle, even though I could barely stand up. Um, I was like, okay, my strategy is we'll get to the ground and then I could try to, muscle in from there. But when you don't have that leg to actually be able to push or do anything, I couldn't do very much. And so,
You were in pain too. You had to be.
I was in excruciating pain. Uh, I had my buddy help me down to the locker room.
I would
Uh,
have stopped playing.
yeah, I taped I put pre-wrap all the way around, then I taped it, then I put a brace on, then I put a knee pad on and took a couple of painkillers and then went back up and continued my next couple of matches. Now, by the time I got home that night, and this time
But you gotta be careful because you can amputate. They may have to amputate your leg.
I had tree trunk legs. You could not see an indention from my thighs down to my calf. It was so swollen. And I didn't get any medical treatment for that at the time. And so what would happen is I would feel a little bit better, and then I would have another little injury, another little injury. And so I ended up going to the military and like kind
Wait,
of
wait, wait.
touring it.
Wait. So you never got surgery for your
Oh no, no.
ACL?
Oh no, I got surgery for it
Oh,
eventually.
I was about to say, how are you moving?
Well, it I still have a lot of problems with it now. But
Mm.
I had reconstructive knee surgery, and at that time they're like, "Dude, you have no remnants of an ACL." They had to take part of my hamstring out to make me a new ACL. I got some pins and screws in there, and then I had a bunch of other tears in my meniscus and torn MCL, and I have arthritis throughout my knees now, and so it's a long, long story. But back in those days, they were like, "Are you hurt or are you injured?"
Yep, that's how my coach. That's exactly how my coach was.
Back up. We don't need you to be soft or weak. And so that's like that's how they used to kind of push a lot of the kids. Like I remember our coaches, man, they used to talk to us like all kinds of messed up. They'd be like, "You fucking piece of shit, little bitch, get the fuck up, pussy!" And they coaches were just yelling in our faces. Like I don't know if you guys remember the old Bobby Knight when he was like throwing chairs at players. Like that's the
Oh,
kind of coaches that we had back in.
Marcus, my
Yeah.
coach he had like a dad bod. He was like in his late 30s. He used to wear like button-up shirts and cargo shorts. He's a white dude. And he would get in our faces. I had my mom and I got well, something happened and I was stuck on the side of the road because the car broke down and I was late to the game. And I was sitting on the bench talking to the guys. He was like, "You sit in the back of the fucking room. You didn't fucking show up." He broke the clipboard and hit somebody in the face. He was like, "You a pussy." He was like, "I leave my kids for this. My kids don't see me, and this is how I get people that don't even give a fuck about me."
Yeah,
And
I
he
mean,
was like,
I remember my uncle telling me, he's like, yeah, they can't talk to the kids like how they used to talk to you guys,
"Dude, my coach used to talk to us crazy."
different generation.
I had one coach who was a street dude. His son played on our team. He told his son, "Yo, Jalen," he had the same name as me. He was like, "Yo, Jalen, if you don't get together, the whole team's gonna run and they're gonna be mad at you." He told his son he acting like a biatch. That's why he can't come. He told his son, "You acting like a biatch. That's why you're not coming home with me. You can go cry with your mother in front of the whole team." And everybody had to run.
Yeah, Anthony's right. Yeah, I did compensate with other ligaments, which led to multiple tears. And like I had what 4 tears in my meniscus disc. Like I used to like sometimes I would be walking in the mall and my leg would lock out and I couldn't straighten my leg and I would have to like wiggle it around to get that part. Because what would happen is you have the meniscus just right there in the middle that gives you the cushion between the bones. And with that tear there, it would flip up under, and it was definitely painful. Definitely very, very, very painful. Yes,
See,
yes, exactly. Playing while injured sounds like a terrible idea. It is a terrible idea.
no,
That's
I had that happen to me. I was in a basketball tournament my sophomore year in high school. I was running after a steal. It was a loose ball, and when I went to like stop myself to grab it, the guy pushed me, and I was trying to catch myself, and I tripped, and I rolled my ankle so bad, my ankle
Mhm.
touched the court, like it completely touched the ground. I broke my ankle and I sprained it like really, really bad, and I tried to run up and down the court, and I like really fell and
Mhm.
my joint was like a disc. It was like a knuckle.
Yeah.
And we were in the middle of nowhere in Florida, in the middle of the as you go up north, it's kind of like neck of the woods. We could not find a hospital that would do x-rays. And so I had to put my foot on the console and my mom kept elbowing me in my ankle the whole 3-hour ride home. I was so miserable. And I had a boot on for 2 months and I had to go to physical therapy.
Yeah. Yeah. Sub says not good coaching. One thing to motivate, another thing to shame someone into playing through pain. Yeah. And that's what I mean, it's messed up, but that's what, and I felt like that is a good change that went away, because it wasn't helpful, and I feel like it destroyed a lot of kids' careers. I mean, maybe they could have just went to a doctor, spent a couple of months out, got the medical treatment they needed, and possibly could have finished their careers. I mean, it destroyed my athletic career, and
Mark,
partially.
you know what else is a tale that people don't really pay attention to?
Hmm.
So D Wade, you think of D Wade, you're like, he's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the top 75 ranked players in the NBA. He got three championships, one Finals MVP, two back to backs, played with LeBron, did all these things, scored all these points. He's the second best shooting guard ever, or third, whatever you want to call it, right?
Hmm.
So in college, he tore his meniscus, but he said back in those times they was just saying you don't want to lose your draft stock, so just um just remove your meniscus and keep going. He had his Hall of Fame career with no meniscus, and he had a bad habit of landing on the heels of his feet, which is why once he got to his 30s, if you really were watching the Heat or D Wade back then, he started a bunch of knee surgeries, and he started missing a bunch of games due to knee pain. But dude was playing on no meniscus, and he was saying because of those times like '02, '01, 2000, like it wasn't like go get surgery because you're gonna lose your draft stock. That's it for you, especially if you're coming from the hood. You don't know no better. So imagine if he would have kept his meniscus, how many years that would have added.
Oh, I could tell by the way he was playing that he had knee problems even before I even knew.
Oh, even when he was fly.
You can tell the difference in the way people move. Um, for instance,
How could you tell with D Wade?
because the way he leans a lot. He leans back.
Yeah, he goes like this because that's how he gets defenders. He'll go one way and then like skirt through the lane.
I'm talking about as far as like when he comes down the court, whereas he has the speed where he could go in and take players, but he'll try to back them down more and go for a fadeaway. The reason why is because
Oh, towards the end of his career.
that cutting and turning on your knee. Oh, I know because I mean I had over 40-inch vertical. And I was really fast. I had the ability to go past people and jump over them. But when those knees are hurting, you can't do that. I mean, you can, but you only got a couple of times you can do that. And so what
Before
happens?
you really hurt yourself.
Well, you're hurting anyway. You
Yeah,
can
but you
push
do
yourself.
worse damage.
You can physically push yourself past the pain, but what happens is the recovery time gets longer and longer when you do those kind of things. So it gets harder and harder to continue to do that. I mean, in high school, my 100-meter time still stands in my high school. You know, I was running literally as fast as college students, but that's what injuries do to you. I don't even know how we got all the way into this talk on injuries and stuff, but
I don't even know. We started talking about like old research and it's because we brought up the term about coaching habits and playing through injury.
well, I think we were talking about
Because it
also
was talking about how it's
different
sensitive.
generation we had to deal with more.
See, we see it's all connected.
Yeah, it's all connected. Like,
When they say it's not a rabbit hole, they're lying.
yeah, I mean, but I feel like still in the community I grew up in, you had to be able to get used to people talking trash about you because it didn't matter what it was about you. Say, for instance, you were a little overweight, somebody's gonna talk about you. If you were skinny, too skinny, somebody's gonna talk about it. If you're too tall, somebody's gonna talk about you. If you're too short, somebody's gonna talk about you. In every single way I can think of. I mean,
Oh, Marcus, I have a perfect story to bridge generations. Okay.
like for instance, I remember this one kid. He was taller than all of the kids. We used to call him Black Lurch. Then another one. I mean, who was really short. We would call him what was it, cousin It, because cousin It was like real little. If you were hairy or whatever, I mean, people had nicknames always for you.
Marcus, check this out.
They used to be like, she's so skinny she can hula hoop with a Cheerio. I mean,
Yeah,
they
of course.
always, so you learn how to give it back and forth. And so that's kind of more what we grew up with. So it's funny to me that now with all the money, people like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett can't take people talking trash to them. Like
Word.
what I would have did, honestly, how I would have dealt with him is, I don't know, I mean, I would have took the mic and I would have probably just said something pretty jacked up to him. I would have been like, I'm like, Chris Rock, are you still playing that crackhead from New Jack City? Because you look like it. I mean, and walked off the stage. I mean, there's ways to get back at people. Or if you were just really genuinely that pissed off, you could have been like, don't say another fucking word about my wife and leave it at that. That gives, I felt like if he would have did that, then everybody would have been looking back at Chris Rock like, man, that was wrong, bro. You shouldn't have said that about his wife. And then Will Smith would have been looked at as Will and Jada would have been looked at as the parties that were wronged, not Chris Rock. But sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, I was talking about the generational thing. Oh, yep, I was just about to mention Yo Mama jokes. But you know, Marcus, to say that you guys grew up with that, I also grew up with that too. I had older brothers and older cousins.
It's still a staple point in the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
Still to this day, if you go into most Black neighborhoods, they still talk about each other like crap.
Literally.
You learn to deal with it. But what I've kind of noticed is once you go outside of that Black community, that's not going on anymore.
Perfect time for the story, Marcus. So I was in 5th grade, and we didn't even have a soccer team. Your combat words were words, exactly. So, and then if you got roasted, what did your parents tell you? Sticks and stones break bones, but words can't hurt me. Exactly. So,
why
I
do you
was
think I go so good at talking trash to people? Because I was a kid who had tree trunk legs with a super thin upper body and bird chest. I was taller than a lot of the other kids. Back then, I didn't say very much and I was quiet. And then, not to mention that, I was one of the poorer kids. So wearing hand-me-downs that didn't really fit, they had so much ammunition to talk about me. And I wasn't going to say very much back.
But yeah, so like you said, outside of those communities, it doesn't go on anymore. So I was in 5th grade, and these girls try to get me kicked off the recess soccer team. We didn't even have a soccer team. It's elementary school. They went to the guidance counselor to ask them to not allow me to play soccer at recess because one of the girls, whenever the teacher would do a popcorn read, she would start every sentence with the word the and be like, the ding is the ding. And I used to be like, you mean the thing? And because I corrected her and was like, yo, she can't speak, bro. Oh, wow, you can't talk? It's like, oh, you're bullying, so you're not allowed to play soccer at recess. That's what they tried to do. And I was in 5th grade.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a different time.
Like that, but that's what we had to deal with. That's what I had to deal with coming up.
I wanted to bring up something. Which one was it that I wanted to bring up first?
I want to know what you guys think of that story in the comment section as far as my era.
I felt like, now, well, that's right. You brought up earlier about that he got the 10-year ban and then he resigned. But we still have Harvey Weinstein, which he's technically still a part of the academy. And he's not, granted, he's in prison, so he can't go. But if he was out, he would still be allowed to go, guaranteed. You guys help me in the chat remember what the other guy's name, I can think of it, Roman Polanski. Yeah, Roman Polanski, Roman Polanski, his awards aren't taken back or anything. There's no consequences for these types of people. And so I look at almost like, all right, Will was wrong. If Chris Rock is not going to sue him or do something like that,
then why are we still talking about
I don't feel it's justified for you guys to do something to Will if you're not going to do something to these people also. Now, do I feel like, oh, Woody Allen also? Yeah. Yeah, I mean Woody Allen. Woody Allen had some weird stuff going on with his wife. I'll just say that.
You-
Um,
Marcus, you know what else gets under my skin though?
well,
When people in our community look at it like, oh my God, you're making us look so bad. This was the first time black people ever got to host the Oscars. It just leads me into why are we seeking what's the obsession with their parties and their academies and
well,
Emmys?
that segues into something else that I would like to bring up. Yeah, ICU Polanski. That's the guy Whoopi stood up for exactly, and she's a part of the Academy also. Easy to do, LOL. Inventor of the adopt that strategy. My mindset is punishments. I think Will should receive some kind of punishment. Yes, adopt a date. Um, Do I feel Polanski should? Do I feel all these people? Do I feel John Wayne for his behavior? And let's go into
But
that. Bring
but
that.
um but Marcus, what punishment does he really deserve?
I,
Like,
I, well, I mean, they could easily say 1 year ban, this and that. You won't be allowed, but all of these other people should be lifetime bans. If you're going to do anything to him, there you need to retroactively go after all these other people. I don't know.
yeah.
Many people remember this. Ali says, "I don't understand why they're going at Will. Exactly why they're going at Will so hard, banning him for 10 years. Like that's all going to hurt. Maybe it'll hurt him. I don't know. It's all very strange. Exactly.
No,
You
but
go
they're
after
trying to slow it back because they're trying to slow productions of his movies.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's being attacked and he's being harmed in so many ways for that. That's the reason why I said we have to make better decisions. I know people are like, well, why are they worried about, because I heard somebody say, oh, well, you guys are mad because what we're embarrassing ourselves in front of the white people. No, it's not that. It's because we know we live in a society where there are different consequences for different people, i.e., what we just talked about with Polanski and what we talked about with Weinstein. There are different consequences for us, and we know that we lived in a rigged system. Why give them ammunition to come back and hurt you like they're doing to Will right now?
Hmm.
I have that. I mean, I have that. But if we were living in a fair, even society, all of them should get some level of punishment then. It can't just be one-sided and then all pile on Will. I feel like this is overkill what they're doing to Will. Yeah, Jada is held up as an example of who not to go for a date. Ooh, yeah,
Hmm.
it's a shame. A
Did you,
woman who's
did
so physically attractive but so ugly on the inside, in my opinion.
she represents a big group of women who are very hateful.
Yeah. Ali says, I don't know. I think it was all staged, but the coordinated reaction is puzzling to me. That's the reason why it makes me feel like it wasn't all entirely staged. Like certain part of this, it was a reaction was supposed to happen, but I don't think that was the reaction that they were planning on to happen.
Hmm.
Let me show you this. Let me pull this one up real quick. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. If anybody out there has heard about this, but another Oscars moment that was pretty disgusting. Um, John Wayne. I'm pretty sure maybe Gray Walker is going to know about this. Definitely remember this happening. Let me pull it up. Here it is. Let's make it big. Right here. Check this out.
What else could happen this night?
Howard Koch, he's the producer of the show, had previously told me, he said, if you read this speech, I will have you arrested. I will have you taken away in handcuffs. I will embarrass you. I will embarrass Marlon Brando. But he had no real idea that I was going to refuse that Academy Award.
Hello, I'm representing Marlon Brando this evening, and he has asked me to tell you in a very long speech, which I cannot share with you presently because of time, but I will be glad to share with the press afterwards, that he very regretfully cannot accept this very generous award. And the reasons for this being are the treatment of American Indians today by the film industry,
So she got up and she made, Marlon Brando sent me here. It was all very sweet. But, the Academy wanted Marlon Brando to get up there and get it because just respect.
Meanwhile, backstage, John Wayne had to be restrained by several big men from coming onto the stage and dragging me off.
We were all in Wounded Knee watching. In Wounded Knee in 1973, we were surrounded in our own homeland on the Pine Ridge Sioux Indian Reservation, and the federal government had surrounded us with all its military might and was firing in on us day and night. Our morale was pretty well destroyed. Just about that time, Marlon told us to watch. And it probably was the finest moment for us in the entire 20th century. That moment brought us so much self-dignity and self-pride. It was the night to remember.
I have indicated in this statement that Marlon Brando is on his way to Wounded Knee.
Right after Marlon did that, the news media snuck through the lines and started really reporting what was going on from inside. Outside, we were just a bunch of thugs. See, up until that time, because of the Academy Awards and Marlon Brando and Sashay Littlefeather, it turned it around. Wounded Knee 1973 was the third most photographed event of the decade of the 70s.
That's true. Marlon made it happen.
He tried to do things for the Native Americans, and in that way, I think he was helpful and made an example for other people who came after him, and myself included. And of course, he got a lot of flack from it.
His life was threatened. He went to jail for it. They vilified him in the national news media for presenting some prime Hollywood Hills real estate to the American Indian.
I think I would like at this time to give you the deed and the title, a letter that relinquishes my claims to the land forever.
Marlon Brando, he saw what we saw and he felt what we felt. He's the only non-Indian that I can really say stepped out in front with us.
Yeah, I don't know how many people know about that. I know ICU said, not ICU, but Grey Walker, sorry. And what's up, brother John? Glad to see you over here. But a lot of people don't know about this or remember this. John Wayne was backstage with 6 guards, had to hold him back because he wanted to go up on stage and do God knows what to that poor woman. Did you know about this, Jay?
I just learned this.
This is
Very interesting.
And I could go through so many stuff on John Wayne. John Wayne was one of the most racist people back in the day in Hollywood. But yet he's honored by so many people. That's the reason why anybody talks about a John Wayne cowboy or Western movie, I don't want to watch none of his bullshit. Fuck John Wayne. And that's my feelings towards a lot of those old racists in Hollywood. But Hollywood props up those people because, believe it or not, Hollywood is still extremely racist to this day. It's obvious by the treatment, what went on with Will Smith, the response which they've done in the treatment.
And what's popular in music too.
Yeah.
You can tell it's racist.
Yeah. Well, but that goes into a deeper story. We're not going to get into that. But I want to show one other clip. This one, let's get a little laugh. Let's get a little levity after that. This one is from Steve Harvey's Hoodie Awards. Some of you guys might have seen this before. So a clip that's definitely made the rounds. Very, very funny moment. Remember when I was talking about how we used to be able to talk about each other and crack jokes and all that? Listen to some of the jokes that go on in here. Let's see. That's about the right spot. Let's go.
Only reason I said that you was messing with my boy Kirk Franklin, and that's my homie. for it. Hey, take your jacket off and cover that side of the audience, sir.
Look here. I ain't the one who wanted to riddle grab outfit up here. I know you had no thing looking like a burnt baked potato. I ain't never seen no fat person trying to do Michael Jackson. That's ridiculous. Somebody pass a snack. That's a vocal snack. And get you in the men's department. Get out of that little boy department. That shirt's smaller than that. I see your titty nipples. And your heart beat, your heart.
We don't want to talk about titties.
Well, mine's covered up. Cover yours up. What's called a smart from? That's because you got implants don't mean they look good.
I bet you got 2% milk coming out of them.
You sitting there talking about I got 2%, you got you who coming out your dick. And it smells like a spoil. Like melted Hershey Kids. I know you ain't up here talking.
Y'all see he ain't stood up straight all night. He doing the fat purple league. We gotta finish the show. I can't get up here with you all night with this Christmas bow tie. Let's go.
Well, we both in the Christmas spirit, as you can see. One more outfit up here with Santa Claus coming.
Yeah, I remember this.
Oh, because Mr. Brown didn't pay you enough to get this jacket.
I bet you had to pay extra.
You should have paid extra for that little ass shirt you got on.
How you 700 pounds wearing a size 2 shoe?
Welcome. I see why Kurt Franklin your friend. Both of y'all like little outfits. They should call y'all boys to men.
I'm done.
And that's how you do it. The number 10 is brought to you by. That's how you do it.
We gotta finish the.
Now, I mean, it goes on for a little bit more, but that's how you deal with that situation. Let's see. John says, the virtue signaling at the Oscars, glad we'll mess that up at least. What my theory is, my thinking, just like we saw the Hoodie Awards. Now, I don't want it to be anything like the Source Awards or something like that, but I would be more than happy to see Black and brown people together start their own shit away from racist ass Hollywood. That's what I would prefer to see. What's up, Tina? Make sure you tell Shadow I said what's up. Give the little man a hug for me. But I would love to see them start their own thing. The reason why is because if they started their own thing and pull themselves out of the bullshit that goes on with the Oscars. You think their ratings are dropping now? Their ratings will plummet through the floor. And you take all of that true entertainment, that live on the spur, entertainment, and you put that in a venue for us alone. And what will happen is they'll shun it at first. They won't like it. But what will happen is they'll start realizing, man, people care more about what's going on over here than what we got going on. And what will happen is then they'll have to start segueing themselves through us, giving us more power. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Rap music. We know who that's created by, but go ahead and say it for me, Jay. Who's rap created by? Black and brown people, right? Blues.
Yep.
Who's blues
Sedgwick
created?
Avenue in the Bronx.
Yeah. Who's blues created by? Well, who's jazz created by? What's rock? Who is rock and roll created by? Even gospel music, country. Let's start talking about some of our foods, our favorite foods. Who start thinking about this? You start taking the black and brown contributions and say, hey, fine, okay, y'all got some of our creations, fine, cool, do what you will with it. We just gonna go do our own little thing over here. Y'all cool. We don't no beef. But do y'all cool. Do what y'all want to do. We're gonna do our own little thing over here. At this point now, I understand back in the 70s when blaxploitation was coming out, a lot of black people were getting shunned and not able to get their movies in. But now's a different time period. You got all of this money in the black community, especially on the top. How many billionaires are sitting out there that can create their own avenues? They can literally say, you know what? Okay, AMC, you don't want to play my movies. You don't want to deal with my company. Fine, I'll create my own shit. I'll start doing this. And fine, we'll start doing our own record companies. And then when you start seeing all these artists start flooding away from this music industry, which is oppressive and only promotes the demeaning aspects of our communities, that's when you can start to see the power back to yourself, because we have the sauce, the sazon. It's us, it's here, you know? And
we got we're the Krabby Patty secret formula.
We have to harness that. Exactly. Brother got an entire studio in ATL. What is he doing? Trying to stay in cahoots with guess who? The thing about it is, forget them. Start doing your own shit. Especially now, how you can do so much stuff with streaming and this and that. You don't have to go through the old school means of trying to get on CBS or NBC. All them. Forget all them. You don't have to do that. What did Tina say there? Said
Tubi has a black cinema channel that has some of the best films I've ever seen from the 70s.
But what we're saying is, if Tubi's not black owned, which I'm not sure if they are or not, we need to start taking that stuff, taking the royalties back, saying, you know what, you guys don't want to pay us right and do business by us right. Fine, we take our movies back. Fine, the Jeffersons and stuff like that. Let's start taking all that stuff back. That's how you deal with these people. My brother Shadow, orale.
What up, Shadow?
But this is how you see the power back to yourself in a non-violent, revolutionary type way. Right now, there's too much damn money in our community to allow us to have to deal with the crap we still keep dealing with. I remember watching this interview with Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was owning his own studio. You know what Eddie Murphy was doing? He was having a meeting. He's the president and owning his own shit. And he caught himself whispering in his own shit. That's how you know that control aspect is still there and ever present. Even when you get to that level, you still don't even feel like you the boss. You still don't feel that sense of power and control.
Even when you have money.
Even when you have the money, even when you have the studio, even Oprah. Oprah got money, but how easily could they take it from her, because she's having to go through ABC and through these other people. Though she has her Oprah network, they can say, well, we're going to drop it and not cover it. Okay, fine. Take this shit to streaming. And then when you take that, you take the viewership. It's just like hip hop. Remember, they tried to cancel hip hop when it first came out. They did not want rap music played. And then what happened? little white kids all over the suburbs wanted to listen to it. As they started wanting to listen to it, what did it do? It pulled that favor over. That's the reason why now you got racist Republicans out there listening to nothing but hood music.
They know 50 Cent. They know 50.
You gotta know the power that you have and utilize and value what you have and learn how to use it. And we have gotten so comfortable in this society and used to letting this society dictate to us the way we need to do things. We need to have, instead of, it's like that, those in those superhero movies, they have the power the whole entire time. But the problem is the confidence in themselves to do it on their own. Exactly. But it's not only in the rap game where they
OVO 40, John.
It is not, John, you're right, but it's not only there. MGM. Think about, start looking into these corporations and see who's owning and running this. See who's running a lot of these TV companies. And when you let other people dictate and tell you how things need to be done and on what course things need to be done, that's why we always run into the problems that we run into, because we're still asking for permission, whether we realize it or not. We are still asking for permission and not demanding self-determination and not having enough faith in ourselves to look to one another to help build each other up. Let's see what you said there. Okay. I got one more thing, Jay, that I need to pull.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll pull that one up, and I'll finish this topic out.
Yep. I 100% agree with you. I actually had a conversation with my grandmother while you're pulling up the video. She says, "Why do these artists have to have a lot of money?" I said, "It's not their money; it's an advance. One thing that makes something popular is to ban it. Of course, human curiosity is if you don't allow them to do something, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna do the thing you told them not to."
Well, think back to Chuck Berry. That's what got a lot of white kids listening to a lot more rock music in the beginnings, because they got tired of one dancing on this side and dancing on that side. Well, we want to dance all together. We want to party with y'all. Ali says here, good comment, says, and now they capitalize on that shit too. They love to hear kids talk about the streets. Meanwhile, kids are actually dying over that shit. And the record labels don't care. Shaking my motherfucking head. Just look at Chicago. It's a perfect example.
Do you know about the Cadillac drill?
Yeah, but well, we probably need to do another segment talking about music again, because some other stuff that we need to go into. But speaking of Chicago, it's a reason why they're gonna have Jay-Z, and they're gonna promote Jay-Z's song, Lucifer. But as soon as you bring up Common and Common wants to talk about the people, that gets shut down. It's a reason why Talib Kweli is talking about the beautiful struggle. Nobody wants to hear that. Let's talk about,
Styles P on Black.
Let's hear what's Black. We could talk about, 50 can talk about, being up in the club, but we can't hear nothing from Mos Def.
Look, they will love to hear up in here, but they won't play. Yeah. They won't give a different song.
They'll play that version of DMX, but we can't hear his songs when he's talking about prayer. Lord, give me a sign. We can't focus on that, but we can hear about party up in here, and somebody need to suck somebody's. We can hear all of this. All of this can be portrayed. Like, for instance, now I'm trying to remember what's his name.
What's funny though?
What?
Jay-Z said, truthfully, I wanted to rhyme like Talib Kweli. He said, he was like, truthfully, I want to rhyme like Common Sense, but I did 5 million. I ain't been rhyming like Common Sense.
Exactly. And that's why they do this. We have to take power of our own destiny. Now, me, for those who don't know, I lean heavily on my faith, and I believe there is an ordained way and a process of all of these things going, and I believe in the prophecies. That's why they call me Young Morpheus. And I believe these prophecies will be fulfilled. I'm watching for prophecies being fulfilled right and left and right and left. So I know we're getting to a point. Perfect example. ICU just brought that up. Low key, they can bring up songs like Throat Baby, and let's talk about Throat Baby and Cardi B doing the WAP and all that. But we don't hear about Low Key. We don't hear about what's his name? Deshaun. I'm forgetting. I'm mixing his name up, but
Or No Name.
There's so many. Ali says Jackson Hinkle talking about smoking on a pack of Sam Cedar, having no idea where the phrase actually comes from. It's kind of funny you said that because he's I clipped a little bit of when I was actually talking to Jackson Hinkle in the video.
Oh, Ali, since you're bringing up Chicago in the past two comments, I can relate to what you're talking about, like smoking on Tuka. Exactly. That's the gangster disciples in the black.
Yeah, they don't know about the GDs.
Yeah, so basically in Chicago,
Latin King.
Marcus. So from like 2014 to like 2014, One Chirac. I don't know if you guys know about DJ Academics, but he made it popular by covering it. But yo, these dudes would have rocket launchers on like 78th Essex in Chicago and posted on Instagram. Everybody used to say he was the ops, but no, you're posting on social media on what block, who you want to kill. But he used to make fun of them. Like he would say, oh, we smoking on coon packs. Like he was doing it to make fun of the people in the community. But these people were really killing people and getting on a song saying, that's why I killed your cousin, spit on the grave. And yeah, John. Exactly. And the crazy thing is this new era is killing children. They don't care, they reckless.
Well, this new generation, and this is what this music has done.
New York too, New York rough too.
So that we will continue to destroy ourselves as a community instead of uplift ourselves. And that's the reason why, on my Hebrew apologetics page, I'm always teaching and practicing on the Torah. If we started treating each other like actual real brothers, like it says that we used to have love and tenderness towards each other. We don't have that anymore. We have an evil eye towards our brother. And that evil eye is why we live in the kind of society we live in now. We don't glorify our women anymore. We look down on them and we think that they should all be thoughts. We sexualize them all instead of worrying about anything that's up here. I'm not saying that women don't look good and you shouldn't appreciate a woman's looks. I mean, but appreciate more than just what she looks like and look at her as more than just a piece of you know what.
And women don't look at the men as a money scheme.
Yeah, I mean and I feel a lot of this is what this society is trying to teach us. And you get it either from it's not only you get it from this, you're getting it from all the aspects, all of it. And it's a mass saturation from the TV you watch, from the entertainment in the movies, to the TV shows, to the music. All of it is mass manipulation. Oh shoot, I didn't know John was in the Chi. Okay, cool. I used to love to go to Chicago growing up. As you guys can see, KC right there in the background. It's only about 6 hours away. Yeah, 7 hours. I know it is a super short flight, but I know, let me put this up here real quick, moving on to the next topic. I had to reschedule the show for today because I went out to an event. Those who follow me on Twitter and saw my interview that I had over on JB, or Revolutionary Blackout with JB, make sure to give them a shout out. I'm pretty sure anybody who's already watching over here probably already knows about them, but on the South Side, I remember going through A school back before Caprini was gone. I remember a cat losing his eye out there.
Mm.
Yeah. Here we go. Let's put this up and play this real quick. This is let's see, there's no need to bolster women's egos. A great many of them already rate themselves as 10. Yeah. Well, I'm not saying they're egos. I'm saying when they show their brilliance, glorify and empower that. That's not just, oh, girl, you so fine. That's I'm not talking about that. We get past that thinking.
Yeah, because like if the women tell all these dudes that these skinny jeans look nice, they're gonna start wearing skinny jeans. You keep telling these women like, oh, you want that fake butt, what they gonna do? Go get a fake butt. Everybody looking for love or attraction.
Yeah, oh, ICU said, I watch you blow JB's mind on capitalism markets. I really don't think a lot of people really think about, I mean, just like, for instance, the left is nuanced. It's the same thing with everything is nuanced. There's not only one type of capitalism. You can't have one type of capitalism. I mean, what we used to call it all the time, we lived in a form of laissez-faire capitalism. It means completely unregulated. And I don't think a lot of people get that. I mean, get the differentiation between it and the different gradations of all these things. I mean, because
that's the Reagan era, Marcus.
You have to have a mixed society. You have to have a mixed economy. It needs there's. I mean, Nico says it all the time. Find your balance. You have to find your balance in everything. You can't go all one way on anything. That's not how any of these systems work. And also, in general, most of these systems anyway are just tools. A tool can be used however we want to use a tool. A screwdriver and a hammer can be used to fix things, but it can also be used to kill. And it matters how we use these tools. But I was out at the Defeat the Mandates, and I decided I want to give you guys like a little bit of clips. So I'm kind of breaking it here, giving you guys the premiere. So those who were able to tune in, so glad you're all here, especially the people who waited at the end, who waited towards the end or hopped in at the end. I appreciate you all. Anybody who came throughout this broadcast, I definitely appreciate you all as me and Jay come back. Even if Jay, I know he's in college right now, so it can be a little harder with the scheduling. I will be, even on the days when our natural time will be on Sundays. Even when I don't have the time, or if we have an interview, we can always switch it over to Monday nights like we're doing. But always expect either Sunday or Monday there is going to be content back on this channel. And a lot more of my one-on-one interviews I'm going to be doing here on this channel. Oh, there's my boy. What's up, brother? Mr. Cy Lawson himself.
What's up, man? Whoa, we gotta work on that caption, homie.
But in fact, I'd have put up his actually while I play this, I'll put his background up while we going ahead and show some of this video. Gray Walker says, I'm part commie, socialist, and capitalist. You have to be a mixture of all these things. One can't survive as a whole government for a whole entire nation, especially a nation this big. So let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, and one part in here, I covered it up just because I don't want YouTube coming after us. Although I agree with what the statement says, if you guys can figure out what it says up under, good for you. If you can't, then DM me and I'll tell you what it says.
Please welcome Women's Attorney and Freedom Fighter.
We must continue to push for new leadership in our government and replace the old guard that is not protecting its people. It's not working for its people, and it is certainly not being covered by its people. What are you willing to sacrifice to make that change? I have made that sacrifice. And I'm asking you to stand with all of us up here and everybody presenting today and everybody standing.
Heroes. In 2022, they trying to fire those same heroes who's trying to have freedom of choice. It's crazy, right? Now, I'm blessed to be on this stage today. Last night, I got a text. Are y'all familiar with Bobby Kennedy Jr.? I got a text. He said, Trumel, come hiking with me in the morning. I said, Bobby, I got a very important event. Then I forgot that I'm speaking to a Kennedy. I said, I can't deny this, right? But he told me something important. He said, when we go into sleep, the devil is just now putting on their clothes. I said, Mr. Kennedy, they must don't know that our God don't sleep either. Our God do not sleep. Now check this out. I want y'all to put your hand in the air real quick. If you're American, if you believe in freedom, put your hand up in the air. Every time, hold on, I need y'all to pay attention. Every time I name a freedom, I want y'all to drop a finger. Freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion, the right to assemble, the right to petition the government. You see this fist? This is our most powerful weapon in this country. It's time we fight back.
And you are telling me that I should tell my people to trust this. Does that make any sense? Are you sure? At this point, they realize they really messed up. Black and white, Muslim and Christian, Jews, everybody all in between, those who are Democrats, Republicans. Some of y'all came from across the border and they didn't want you to, but you made it anyway. Those all across this planet have come together to make a declaration, which is that we will not allow you to do this to us again. Is that right? Is that right? They declared war on family. They declared war on mothers, on fathers, and children, and even our elders. I don't know about you, brothers, but let me make this very clear. There is nothing more dangerous than a mother. Did I say it right? Next to her, nothing more dangerous than a father. I got you. Because men, we are here too. Is that right? So when they declared war on the family, that is something they should have never done. Now they understand that there is something bigger than the fear that they systematically rolled out across the planet to mentally manipulate and control over 1 billion people. And that is when we realize that we are being attacked by a force, an evil, wicked force that does not give a damn about your color. They don't care about your religion because they don't believe in God. They don't care about your political status. They don't care about which area in the country you live in or what you claim or come from. They say we want to get rid of you and we want to get rid of anyone who opposes our agenda. Is that right? Yeah. So now we are letting them know this is a small example or a microcosm of the macro or a smaller example of the larger whole. This group of people is who you have to face if you continue to declare war on us.
Vaccinated in order to further shatter the solidarity of the 99%.
Yeah! Yeah, Max!
I want to tell you about the most courageous journalist of our time. His name is Julian Assange.
Yes!
Make noise for Julian Assange. Julian Assange. Julian Assange, before he was a political prisoner, reminded us that every war of our lifetime, from Vietnam to Iraq to the NATO proxy war in Ukraine, has been sold to us with the lies of the corporate media. And this too is true of the war waged on the people of this country under the banner of a pandemic. Today, as we know, Julian Assange sits in a maximum security prison for exposing the lies of the national security state, and they are trying to kill him. And the same corporate apparatus that silenced Assange has set out to censor and smear anyone who has called out the lies that have given rise to a biomedical security state. Under the corporate state, character assassination, censorship, and official silencing is the price of telling the truth. And we understand that at the Gray Zone, and we will never stop telling the truth. And so I'm here on behalf of the part of the media that is still independent and still disobedient and still defiant and still says, F you, we won't do what you told me, to the stenographers and the shills and the war pigs of the corporate state. We will not be silenced, and you will not win. Thank you, Ronnie.
Strong enough, or perhaps not the right ones, but they were decided by one individual at HR that they were not good enough. She gave me no reasoning, no justification. She used no criteria. It was completely unjust. Then they immediately unjustly disregarded my due process and put me off on unpaid leave on October 1st. The one thing they didn't count on was that at that moment, they activated the fighting spirit inside of me. Since then, I've been doing everything in my power to educate the community, to fight against this tyranny. Because after all, it isn't government or man that gives us power, but it's bestowed upon us by God, our Creator, and who gives us our rights and our freedoms. I refuse to give those up for any man and for any paycheck, so I stand strong with my brothers and sisters behind me to stand against this tyranny. Thank you and God bless.
Let's talk to some people. Let's talk to some people. Hey, what's up? good to see you. What's up?
I'm on Political Matrix.
Okay, bet. You want to say hi? We're streaming.
Sure.
What's up?
What's up, everybody?
Shout
Marcus
out.
Cage, Young Morpheus, Political Matrix.
Young Morpheus. Yes, sir. Were you live today?
I was on with JB earlier on Revolutionary Blackout.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw a little bit of that. Bro, so, yeah, what do you think about what's going on here? We got a big crowd. How do you feel about it?
I think it's a pretty nice turnout. Really big crowd. A lot of energy. Very diverse crowd. Got to see Rizza Islam earlier. Max Blumenthal was up. Heard a lady that talked a lot about Nuremberg trials and stuff.
Yep.
So that was interesting.
Please welcome human rights attorney and freedom fighter.
My name is Craig Pasta-Jardula. I'm an independent media journalist and commentator. I have a show. I've been demonetized on YouTube for quite some time for talking the truth. And I got one small message for you today if they cut that noise up above. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out today. You guys were awesome. I really do appreciate it. Give yourselves a round of applause. Give it up for Jim Levy and High Res. Give it up for Laura Logan out there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to make it really quick because I ain't got a lot of time. I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to speak today. But I have just one message. We might have won a lot of battles, but the war isn't over yet. They are lurking in the background right now with these draconian laws right here in California that they want to pass, where a 12-year-old can get consent to get the shot without telling his parents. Are you going to let them hurt our children? I don't know about you, but that's a line. The children, you don't mess with the children. Does everybody know about the WEF floating this treaty around? You guys know about this. This treaty, if it's passed, will override our Constitution. And I don't know about you out there, ladies and gentlemen, but you don't mess with our Constitution. You have the right to say what goes in the body. You have the right to assemble peacefully, and more importantly, you have the right to free and fair, transparent elections. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, the same people who are pulling the strings for that are pulling the strings for the elections. So we need you to continue to become advocates, not just activists, advocates. Learn what's going on, understand the laws, fight back, call your congressman, tell your friends, and more than anything, the people who just don't get it, be patient with them. They're victims too. We know we've had a lot of pain over the last couple of years, but at the end of the day, make sure you pick up that phone, you call your congressman, and let them know that you will not stand for medical tyranny. Let me hear you say, ladies and gentlemen, are you going to let them put stuff in your body? Are you gonna fight back? That's the way to go. Give yourselves a round of applause. I love you. I don't have much time. Make sure you donate if you can, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
All right, cool. Let me stop that. All righty. Yeah, my boy Pasta. Yeah, I went down afterwards and I went and talked to Pasta and Steve after they came off. It's funny, Pasta was like almost looking like a lobster. That sun had ate his ass up, but that's my boy. I'm glad you like the little mosaic that I put on there to cover it up. I had to put something because what it said, it was like, I can't really get. I mean, that would have got me in trouble alone, even though I had no control over what was put on there. There were a lot of speakers. Jimmy Dore spoke towards the end, but I just wanted to be able to give you guys just a little touch about it. Did they interview RZA? I know Pasta did talk to him. I'm not sure if they worked it out yet as far as an interview, but I know that he is working on. So I would say look forward to seeing Pasta doing something with RZA in the near future. Marcus is what's known as an adult. I try. One thing I try to, and this is advice that I would give to everybody out there who's doing content. This is my take, and I've had this conversation with Allie, and I told her this. I said, the people who watch our content and want to hear our takes and our commentary, they don't know the different beefs that people have, and they don't really care either. It should be more important about us, if we really care about this information and trying to help people, that we, or not necessarily even help people, just trying to inform people or give them our perspectives, and hopefully that they see things, a little bit differently. Excuse me. That we can rise above whatever personal feelings that we have with certain people. If I knew every content creator, would I necessarily hang out with everybody? No. But can we have a professional working relationship? Yeah, we should be able to, because think about it. Don't we all go to work with people that we cannot stand? I know every single one of you guys out there has somebody at your job you absolutely cannot stand. And if they got fired tomorrow, you'd probably be doing a happy dance. It's the same thing when we're doing commentary. I look at it as, if I can say one thing or somebody else can say one thing that is key to helping somebody see something differently, we can even say the same thing. There's plenty of times where I've learned that. Perfect example, what was it? Steve Young. Steve Young, Hall of Fame quarterback. His kids would not listen to a word he said about football, but he'd go tell that advice to their coach and they'd listen instantly. And so we got to understand, sometimes people hear things, are able to accept information from different sources. And so that's just something we have to try to, won't name out Boss Mike. Exactly. I mean, we all got those people that we can't stand that we have to deal with. Communication is key too. Sometimes you might find out that you really don't have the beefs with some of the people you think, but it's a miscommunication. I mean, I know of somebody at my job who misinforms people all the time. And I don't know if they literally hear stuff and in their mind it just starts changing until it warps into something else. And then they tell people what this new story is that's warped in their brain. Or this person is just an outright just liar. But there's a person who I work with where they literally change facts and details, get changed around all the time. And what we had to learn is, who told you that? Oh, they said that? That's not what happened. And we'll all get past some of those beefs. Then I had like people where I can work with them, or I couldn't work with them, but outside work, we were cool as hell. When I was active duty, my buddy Venedan, we could not work together at all. He was too anal and particular about every single thing. Granted, in the military, you got to follow, you got to follow your SOPs and stuff like that. But he'd be like, okay, well, I prefer to put this tool here and put this torque wrench here and I'm like, dude, we don't got to do all that. They're in the toolbox. As long as we follow step by step, we're good. But some people add extra ways for them to do it. And, there's a gazillion different ways to do things a lot of times. And it's just a matter of learning how to just deal with people. And I feel like whatever way, and then some content creators, they'll feel like, well, I've been talking about this for 6 months, and now this person who's bigger than me, now they're putting the information out, and they're not giving me credit for it. And I had to learn, even myself, to get past that. I used to have that kind of gripe with, for instance, he's a big name, so he could take it. I'll say Jimmy Dore. I would say stuff all the time, months before a Jimmy Dore would be saying it. But he'll get on camera and say, I'm the only one talking about this. No, you're not the only one. You're the only big one. And sometimes, even though we're first, our platforms, because of the way these algorithms and things work, our word is never going to get out. That's just how it is. Our word is never going to get out. So sometimes they're going to have to hear from a Jimmy Dore. They're going to have to hear from a Vanguard. They're going to have to hear from whoever else. And that's just how it works. Hey, what's up, Steven Torres? Gazillion is a technical term. Using it. Yes, we do. We say gazillion a lot. Tina says, negative fucks bring everyone down, or dementors, they're everywhere. Yeah, we got to learn how to, be uppers. We got to learn how to be more positive and not let stuff bother us nearly as much. We know, and Doom and Gloom says, Jimmy doesn't frame anything correctly. So, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes they don't frame things correctly. I don't disagree with you there. But if it can at least get them aware, if they can get aware of some of these things, then they can start, going through their own process of starting to dig and search more and more and more and learn about it. And then eventually that might lead them to one of us that can help guide them in a better direction. And so that is, that's at least my approach. I can't tell anybody how they should do what they do. We're all adults here, and everybody has their own way. So I'm not here to knock anybody's hustle necessarily. My goal is to just try my best to get that information out there whichever I can. And if I feel it's advantageous for my audience to be able to work with different people to increase awareness on things, then that's my goal. Aware of what all depends. I mean, there's all kind of, I put it this way. A lot of us were talking about stuff that was wrong with the serum. A lot of people in the left did not start listening to some of those causes and concerns till somebody like him started talking about it. I wish it wasn't that way, but it is that way. And there are issues sometimes which people are not listening all the way down to people like us. And so it sometimes has to get out, it's kind of like in the hood, you'll have music that'll be, I'm trying to think of, what do they call it? Underground. You got stuff that's going to be underground. And sometimes people won't know how good it is until it hits the mainstream. And then they start looking back to the originals and all the underground stuff. So that's what I'm talking about. Nomenclature, yes. No womenclature. Oh, that's funny. There's women in the Navy. Shush. The framing and lens is everything. The information is useless without with the wrong analysis. I mean, you said that's just your opinion. Well, I believe that we have to also keep in mind to survey the information. And if we just pay so much attention on the framing, then we're expecting for the person to give us everything 100%. And what we have to always keep in mind is nothing is 100%. Nothing is going to be entirely accurate. Framing and different things are not going to be correct. So we have to, like that phrase that they say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We have to be able to pick it apart and look at what's good there, what we don't need, and you know, trying to remember what it's called, discernment. Biblically, you need to have proper discernment. You got to be able to pick it apart because it's not meant to be simple and easy for everyone to figure out. Yeah, we all started you got a point. We all started somewhere. A lot of people started out with the dumpster fire Bernie. I did too. I started off with Bernie. Actually, before that, I was with Obama. We all have to start somewhere. Some of these people who are shit libs doesn't mean they're always going to stay a shit lib. If we have patience and help try to bring them along, we can do that. We can't just give up on everybody, you know, so quickly. I know you're the doom. We got to have the doom. We got to have the gloom. We got to have all of it. So everybody is needed in this. Says she is lying. She is full of flowers and sun. John says, why is it I don't hear these other content providers using this logic? I feel like so many of them need to crosstalk because I feel a lot of ego gets involved in a lot of these different content creators. Ego gets involved, and ego always gets you in trouble. You know, I try to be ego, jealousy. I mean, like, for instance, I didn't know if I was going to go into this or not, but I don't know if you guys seen Graham. Graham flipped his damn lid, getting all ticked off about Jimmy Dore going live. And I think for you to have 75,000 subscribers, you should be able to hold it together a little bit better than that, be more professional. Especially anybody that I see that has more grade than me, you got to do better than that. You have to lead by example, especially as an elder. I'm not saying he's elderly, but an elder. But he pushes the same treatments made by the same companies. Yeah, but it's how I see it is it's impossible to get away from any of all the companies are corrupted in my mind. So it's almost impossible to get away from any of them because there's a monopoly on everything. If people were afraid of negativity, then I wish them luck. It's going to be a tough road. Well, when I first started noticing how corrupted a lot of things were, it did lead me to be very pessimistic and very negative. And I get that. So I'm not trying to knock you on that. Misha says the majority of the pop don't have the time or attention span to do deep dives. That's true. Also, we got to remember, not only that, people are intentionally, like, I look at it like the, I don't know who grew up around and seen any kind of dogfight never, how they're jostling the pit bulls, getting them angry, putting them right face to face to face, and then let them snap. That's what they're doing with everybody out here. That's what they do with all the population. They put everything into a dichotomy. Red versus blue, atheist versus religious, rich versus poor, everything. And some of these are not false dichotomies, but they have to make everything binary to always keep people divisive. So the people who are really sitting at the top, who are doing all this stuff, we don't start looking at them. That's the purpose of all of this. You started out with Obama? Yeah, I mean, I tell people I started out as a Democrat. I mean, I remember when my family was supporting, trying to think, the Clintons back in the day. And then even before that, I remember, why am I forgetting his name right now? He ran, he's the one who let the guy out on release and got in trouble because the guy killed somebody. Crap, I can't remember. His ego and his Graham's outburst. Graham. I'm gonna go into that. I think I'm gonna have to talk about it because I watched the Vanguard talk about it, and I was like, you guys sound like you're just a little offended because he kind of tossed you guys to the side also. Yeah, what is being negative? Exactly. Everything's about perspective. Everything is about perspective. False dichotomy is indicative of a failing comfort zone. So life and inflation. Actually, that's a good question. I question however we perceive it, though. Everything is about perception, just like the old saying, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, ugliness is in the eye of the beholder, brilliance is in the eye of the beholder. There's people who would look at me and think, oh, he just gets on a t-shirt and ball cap. He's not very professional. They rather listen to somebody like Kyle Kalinske, who puts on a suit and talks all proper and stuff, even though he's a dumbass. I mean, he's very, very arrogant. And that's where we talk about that damn ego stuff. Ego always gets you in trouble. Jimmy made a video defending Tulsi from The View. They called for her arrest, and obviously they were not very bright, but he said nothing about her special ops in Africa. Well, you can't, I mean, it's easy to go down a rant of tearing everybody a new one for everything that they've done, but if you did that, you'd have to spend your whole show on just attacking those things, and so you have to take the things as they come. ICU says, so true, Marcus. I spend my time on Twitter answering none of the above in people's commentary and dichotomy polls. Seb says, how many videos does Jimmy make about Ukraine or Russia or Syria? 0 on covert wars in Africa. Well, I don't think that everything is in everybody's wheelhouse or that's in their purview or knowledge. I mean, I've watched Jimmy not cover certain things and then eventually start covering them. And just like I was talking about Chris the other night, the Black community, and I think I talked about this on JB's show, the Black community is not engaged in a lot of what goes on in foreign policy, and they should be. And many people are not engaged. Most Americans are not engaged in foreign policy very much. They cover what's the main news story. So a lot of these people are just commenting on what's the hot topics. That's the reason why what we like to do with what I like to do with all my commentary doesn't always hit all the algorithms, because I do what I think is important, not always following all the different whatever is the hot stories. No, you can point out he's a hypocrite if you feel that he's a hypocrite. But I feel if we spent our whole time pointing out everywhere where everybody's wrong, and I don't know how effective that is either. John says, right, taught my children, you meet a person with your eyes closed and heart open. Good. It's good teaching. All right, I don't think I said you're attacking. I hope not. Taking things as they come, phrasing. So I see something wrong. Yeah, seeing something wrong and pointing it out, it's no problem with that. But if we spend our time only, all I'm saying is, I don't expect somebody like Jimmy Dore to understand every single issue. He literally tells everybody, I'm just a jagoff comedian. So I don't expect him to give deep dives and analysis on everything. Just like I couldn't tell all the ins and outs about being a comedian. He won't even go into it ever. And he did mention the wars she's in because of the wars that the people point. You got to remember, Jimmy is only following what the news is talking about. That's it. I mean, that's Jimmy covering Black Lives Matter. I mean, if you feel it's direct hypocrisy, that's fine. I don't consider Jimmy to be. I mean, it's kind of like this. let's use a reference of hip hop music. Did anybody ever look at Will Smith to give great, understanding of what's going on in the hood? Hell no, because he was mainstream as it gets. And I don't expect for some people to ever touch into certain lanes. Does that mean that you should spend time, focusing on that? No, that's why we have other lanes to take care of it. There are issues I hardly ever talk about. And the reason why I don't talk about those issues, because all of them are not my expertise. I can't talk about stuff if I'm not well knowledge on it. Just like the interview I'm going to have with Carl Zah. I know some things about China, but he knows a whole lot more, and we're going to go into that. I know, but Sebs, you have very strict standards also, so keep that in mind. And I'm right. Ali, well, it is war though, and it just slides past. So it makes the whole anti-war thing seem very narrow. You know how many people, if you would have asked them a couple of years ago how many countries we're in, they couldn't have told you. I mean, how many active countries? A lot of people are not nearly engaged as we are. And that's a sad reality, but it is reality. A lot of people are not engaged to the level we are. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I appreciate everybody for dropping in. And I do appreciate the dialogue from everybody. It helps keep me informed and sharpened and understand, everybody's different perspectives. And I don't ever want to marginalize anybody's perspectives or point of views. Yes, we can discuss this in 2 weeks. Yeah, but I definitely appreciate all of you guys for being in here. Doom and Gloom, Sebs, Ali, Shadow Band, Tina. Make sure to give love to the little one. ICU, Skywalker. John, thank you for coming on over. I appreciate you, and appreciate talking to you about a lot of the stuff that we talk about as far as veterans issues. I'll definitely probably DM you and talk some more. I guarantee you there's a lot that probably swirls around in my head that's probably very common with stuff that you talked about, and that's probably been on your mind too as a vet. Misha, my brother, good to see you also. Who else? Atres, good to see you also. Just trying to make sure I remember everybody. Oh, that's right. Anthony was in here earlier. Gray Walker. Thank you, everybody that was in here. And make sure to remember, next week to come and check us out. We will be back with another show. I don't know what it's going to be about yet, but count on all 3 of the shows are going to be up and running every week. We will have the Political Matrix on our normal time, normal day, Saturday nights. I can't speak to the times always because we have interviews or people who are going to join the panel have to accommodate their schedules, of course. I will be doing either what I've been thinking, me solo, or interviews, or it will be the Talk of the Ages with Jalen. So, and then on Thursdays, unless I have an interview and I have to push it to a Wednesday, that's when I do my my Hebrew apologetics. If there's any titles, not any titles, but any topics that you guys would like me to go into, please, DM me on that. I'll get with Fuzz, and then we can make a lesson plan for whatever it is. Any questions? Also, you can go to an old video, drop that in that video. If you're watching and it's something that you don't feel is clarified, then ask me on anything, any topic, and I will do my best to answer if I do have an answer. Let's do a show on Atlantis. Ooh, that'll be fun. Text me about that and remind me, okay, Polly? And yeah, Atlantis, that'll be a lot of fun. Atlantis, pre-Younger, Drysis civilization. Yeah, that's some good stuff. But thank you all for tuning in. Remember, next Sunday I have Carl Za. I think it's going to be a really, really good interview. You guys are not going to want to miss. Until the next time, you guys have a great one. And please, please enjoy your week. Oh, been reading a lot about Atlantis and the Black Sea. Yeah, Sea of Azov. It's a lot that we need to get into that. So, and I actually just like to talk ancient civilization a lot, because I don't have anybody I can get to talk to about it. And most people aren't that nerdy as us. But I appreciate it. Yes, solidarity, definitely, my brother. All right, y'all have a good week.